Hi everybody. I just recorded a 9-minute video about what coaching versus therapy is, and the microphone wasn't on, so that was good. And also the dog started barking because the mailman came about 3 hours earlier than normal, so that was okay. That just wasn't meant to go. So this is take 2. So, what is a life coach and what is therapy? How do they play in together? There's a large glare, so I'm going to take these off. What's the difference in the two? When do you know that you need one or the other? When would you know that you need both? Etc. I've covered this on my podcast with a few guests that I've had on. Gina Jane, Kelly Lynch, etc. We'll cover it more in the future. I like to get a lot of people's inputs. In my experience, therapy provides the groundwork to get to a point of needing coaching. Therapy has provided tools to get through trauma and drama and the repeating cycles in relationships and with myself. So if we look at things like in a timeline, this is how I often view a lot of things in the world, is in a timeline. I try to make things linear that are complex in the art of explaining them. So if we look at the endpoints here, and they can be infinite in either direction, but we give a point of neutrality as being okay, as getting through the life, day-to-day life, being somewhat happy. Maybe you're not completely happy, but you're not miserable either. You're going to work, you're getting places on time, you're not getting emotionally triggered. You're just in a place of complacency and okayness. But maybe you're tipping the scale on the other side of that, thinking that, okay, there's something more. I want to do something differently. I want to take a trip. I want to change careers. I want to clean my house up. You want to do something that is future and action oriented to get a better result. On the side of needing, maybe you're in a place of where you're triggered emotionally in traffic. You get angry at things that aren't really directed at you, or you're in a constant state of feeling abandoned, or like people are going to abandon you, or you're having flashbacks to your childhood, to very unpleasant situations a lot, and it's getting to you, and it's getting in the way of life. I want to state that I'll put the disclaimer that I am not a therapist. I'm not trained in a clinical background or setting. This is just my experience and my perspective on these things. Maybe it's a situation where you're in a bad relationship and you don't know how to get out, and you've been in a lot of bad relationships and you didn't know how to get out, and so you got out of one and into another, out of that one into another, out of that one into another. Maybe it's addiction issues or chemical dependencies. Maybe it's food addiction. Maybe it's addiction to exercise. Maybe it's addiction to monitoring calories in and calories out, and you know exactly how many down to the nearest 10. Maybe it's a situation of you just don't feel like there's anything going on, and you're more on the depressive side because whatever the reasons are. Those are the types of experiences, in my opinion, that would require therapy, counseling over coaching. You're not to a point yet where coaching would be its most valuable. Coaching, however, is from that point of neutrality once you feel okay on the other side of all of those things, or different things if that's what applies to you. Coaching would be from taking you from a point of neutrality, or kind of a 0, if we look at it on a number scale, to beyond that. So it's very action and future and goal and kind of bringing dreams into reality sort of orientation. So let's say, use my own very personal example. You want to be a life coach. That's starting your own business, essentially. small monetary investment by comparison to, say, going back to school for your master's, or starting a brick and mortar business, or changing careers and needing to get a lot of other certifications, or you can insert whatever is applicable for your life into the blanks here. For my partner that painted this painting behind me, she started painting on her own and has kind of taught herself and intuitively knows how to paint. So there was a lower barrier to entry there because she didn't take any art classes. She didn't go to art school. She is just kind of naturally gifted and has practiced and worked on her own skills there in our garage. So we don't pay for a space. The materials are relatively inexpensive by comparison to, say, starting woodworking, where you require a lot of machinery and things like that. So those are just a couple of very small examples that, to minimize that screen there, that you could do. Those are ours. At the end of 2015, the Catalyst coaching intensive came back up. I think it was the third or fourth. It was one of the early cohorts that I joined in on. I was going through a transition period at my day job in the technology field. We had gone through a buyout. There were some transitions. I was changing positions myself, and I just wanted something more. I felt like I'd been going through all of this stuff, and I now needed to give back to others in a very real way. And so for me, I saw John Kim's post about the Catalyst Coaching Intensive and signing up for the next round. And so I thought, this is it. This makes so much sense for me. It felt right. It seemed right. The timing was good. I had the time to set aside for it on the weekends. Everything just made sense for it. And I'm so thankful that I did it. I've met the most amazing people that just feel like, my tribe in that group. The course then was about $3,000. So did that on a payment plan, which a lot of people do. Now I think it's around $4,000, I'm not sure. A lot of other coaching courses are a bit more, maybe $10,000 to $20,000. I'm not sure. I never priced any out. Those are just kind of numbers that I've heard dropped from other people. They might be slightly more structured and intensive, focused on executive coaching versus just general life coaching. I don't know about those. So if you're considering becoming a coach, or say like a personal consultant of some sort, or a health coach or nutrition coach or a yoga instructor, there are certifications that you can get to give you the proper training, to show you what to do, to give you the right knowledge of how to do it, and of course the practice to do that. For me, I already had a laptop, I already had a phone, I already had, just about everything. I got business cards, so there was a cost there. It costs money for a website. I have done mine on Squarespace now, and I can't recommend that enough. So there are some trips that I've taken a couple of times to collaborate with other people. There's marketing, so there are costs associated with it, but by comparison to, say, opening a Chick-fil-A franchise or 7-Eleven, like a more brick and mortar sort of store, that also has pretty high payoff if you have quite a volume of them. They're pretty low barriers to entry by comparison to a lot of other businesses that you could start on your own. If you follow people like Gary Vaynerchuk, Lewis Howes, Tony Robbins, Tim Bilyeu, Cody Jefferson, John Kim, there's a pretty formulated, Beth Derrick, there's a pretty formulated equation to success. And if you do all of these things, at some point you will start having some success, whether that's by measurement of viewers, by measurement of paying clients, by measurement of readers, by measurement of just general followers on social media. Whatever it is, there's an equation for it, and there's a formula. Most of it comes down to consistently producing content, whether that's a blog, whether it's a podcast. Excuse me, I have bronchitis and pretty dry throat happening, so apologize for that, boss. A vlog, Twitter posts, Instagram posts, whatever it is, it comes down to consistency, whether it takes 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, as long as you're consistent about creating and sharing your message and what you have to say, because we all have something to say that has some benefit to others. At some point, some level of success would happen. Success is different for everybody. For some, it might be fame. For some, it might be money. Again, we can go back into the measurements of social media followers and blog followers, and the measurements are endless. So that's coaching. That's how to get into coaching. When you know you need a coach is if you want to do something like that. It's hard to do it on your own. Most people have a mentor. Most very successful people have mentors. Most very successful people have coaches. Mentors may be paid or unpaid. Coaches should usually be paid because that's providing a very real service back to you as the client in need. I don't have a paid coach right now. It's something that I've been bumbling around in my head because I'm not getting to where I want to be without one. A friend of mine just hired a coach, and it's scary because it's a large investment. It's scary to be pulled out of your comfort zone. Like, that's a real thing. And it's all of the things that we know that we want to do, but unless somebody else is invested in helping us do it, then what are we doing? For the month of December, for example, I'm doing 100 jumping jacks a day. It's nothing big. It takes less than 2 minutes. It's not anything wild and crazy. It's probably not going to change my body composition, but I'm doing it to start the habit of consistency of moving my body every day. I've worked out very inconsistently over the past 20 years, we'll call it, since junior high basically, and that's not gotten me anywhere closer to my goal of wanting to look and feel in shape. So prior to starting 2019 and starting New Year's resolutions, which I like to call New Year's intentions, or just insert the name of the year here. So 2019 and goals and intentions is what I have kind of redubbed it for myself. I call them intentions, and I tried to start them in the previous year, so at the end of the previous year. So I started writing mine out for 2019 in October. And I do a lot of research. So the numerology year the number for the year for 2019 is 3. 2 plus 0 plus 1 plus 9 reduces to 3 in numerology. And then I take that, and then I look at a lot of astrology reports for the year, and I try to put my goals and intentions for the year around those themes, so I'm not fighting against the wind. I'm working with the powers that be. I'm working with the energies. I'm working with everything that I currently understand and know to have some success. And that's what I either directly or indirectly incorporate in with my coaching clients as well. I try to work with the flow of the energy and not against it, because if we're working against it, then that just makes everything that much harder. I do things the hard way anyway. I like to chop my own vegetables. I like to make my own coffee by grinding the beans. Don't yet roast them. That's something kind of in the back of my mind that I want to start doing. I like to do things the hard way, in a very ritualistic sort of sense. When it comes to building things and getting ahead, I'm not afraid to try new things, but I also want to try new things that are going to get me from point A to D or Z or B or M, whatever the next point is. So having a coach would exponentially help me in a great way. What could you use a coach for? Maybe you're in a situation completely different and you're in an unhappy relationship and you want to get out of it. I've been there and I've done that. I could definitely help you navigate those very tricky waters. Maybe you're just out of a relationship and you are brought to tears by everything you see that reminds you of that person, because everything reminds you of that person. How do you move on when it feels like you can't move on? We can get through that. Maybe you're in a situation of you're having some health challenges and you don't know what to do because everything feels overwhelming. You've never considered what you're consuming before, and now it seems like everything that you eat is fighting against your body, and you don't know where to start to either pull things out of your diet, such as sugar, gluten, dairy, etc., or you've read all these things and you're like, I kind of know what to do, but I just can't stop eating ice cream, or I can't stop eating Oreos. I can help you with that. Right now I'm drinking freshly ground organic coffee with charcoal filtered water, and that speaks for itself. Let's say you're in a really tough financial situation, and I'll use a somewhat relevant example. Let's say that you are approaching retirement and you have $2,000 in the savings account. You make good money, but you realize that you want to retire in the next 10 to 15 years, and you don't know how you're going to do that, because now you've lived a really good life to date, but you want to retire in a few years and you just got nothing saved for yourself. What do? We would start by putting a budget together. We would start by assessing what's coming in and what's going out, and what we can keep in and put into either some stock markets, real estate, or just traditional savings accounts, just to get something started to build there. We would assess your interest rates. If you've got things like a mortgage and cars and credit cards and all these other things, what can we refinance and cut out? What sort of memberships can we cut off? Are you paying $300 a month for cable? That's $3,600 a year. $3,600 a year. In 2 years, at $7,200. It multiplies very quickly. Can you cut that out? Are you paying for Netflix and Amazon Prime, which is $120 a year? Are you buying $10 worth of coffee every day? All of these things add up over time, and if you actively, say you make a $7 transfer from your checking to your savings account every day for a month. So let's use 30 days. 7 times 30 is 210. 210 times 12, you can multiply it out from there. That adds up to thousands of dollars over a few short years. I'll let you sit with that for a second, because that's real money. Susie Orman talks a lot about this. And this is not meant to be a financial video. We can go into that separately. But I want people to start thinking about what they're doing and where they want to go, and what the gap is between there. Maybe it's none of my business. Maybe you're like, I can handle this on my own. Be quiet. Maybe you're like, oh my gosh, I'm in a similar situation. I need somebody to help me. I can be that person for you, or another coach can, or a therapist, or a counselor, or a psychiatrist, or a health coach, or a nutrition coach, or a yoga teacher, or a friend, somebody. The point is, we're not meant to do this alone, and it would be miserable if we tried. I did try, and it was miserable. I also tried to do it with the wrong people, trying to do something that is very important to you, but it's not important to somebody else, is extremely miserable, frustrating, and non-productive. It doesn't get you anywhere closer to your goal. It just gets you a little bit away from it for a minute, and then it kind of propels you forward if you use that sort of motivation. So back to the point. Difference between a therapist and a life coach or counselor. I honestly don't know the difference between the two, so I use them a little bit synonymously, and I should know the difference because a lot of my friends are in that field. So I apologize for my ignorance there. You should seek therapy and counseling if you are easily triggered, if you keep repeating some same patterns that are a bit unhealthy or concerning, if you've got some childhood trauma or adult trauma, whatever the time period was that you need to work through, that you're afraid to talk about with friends and family. Perhaps it was a death and you didn't know how to deal with it, and you've just been just on the surface, you've been okay because you don't know how to be anything else. You don't feel like it's okay to break down and cry, or to process that grief, or to go visit their gravesite, or to look at pictures or anything like that. Perhaps, therapy could help you with that and help you move on from there. Maybe it's a situation of you keep having nightmares and you don't know why. Talk to someone, honestly. And again, with the disclaimer, I'm not clinically trained in this field. This is just something from my own experience, and both personally and things that I've read and kind of informally learned. When you get to the point of needing a coach is when you are really focused on the future. You're focused on, I have this goal and I need to achieve this because blank. Because it's this financial goal, because it's this business goal, because it's this personal goal, because you want to do something that's bigger than yourself for yourself. Let's say that you are in a situation that, just to give this another realistic example, you're overweight and you want to lose, say, 100 pounds. Can you do that by yourself? Who's invested in you losing that 100 pounds and gaining all that confidence and health back? A health coach, or a nutritionist, or an exercise coach, a fitness coach would be that person for you. So again, just consider your goals as we approach 2019 and keep all of this in mind. Maybe this was relevant to you, maybe it was not. If it was, please like and share, please subscribe, please consider sharing it with somebody that it might be relevant to. If it wasn't, please share anyway, because it matters and it makes a lot of difference to me as I try to build out this little side hustle that I've been working on for some time now. You can find me online at livegoodlivewell.com. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram under the same Live Good, Live Well. On YouTube, for a few various reasons, it's under Live Good, Live Well Lifestyle is the channel. And we have some content there that we're starting to put out. It's not very fancy. We don't use any fancy editing software yet because we have not budgeted for it, regardless of the small cost of some. It's just not in our timeline just yet. But anyway, I digress. Again, please like and share and subscribe if you're so willing to do so. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day.